This is the week here in Olympia when we're finalizing both the operating and the capital budget. Operating budget has so many holes in it that I got depressed last week when I was talking to you all about it. So I'm going to talk about capital budget now. These are the buildings, not just the highways, but the buildings that we need in the 37th district. We need in Rainier Valley and Columbia City and down through the valley, for mostly social services and neighborhood and ethnic groups. That we always put some kind of money on these, but this year we're going to do a little more for a couple of reasons. One is the need is greater, and the second is that projects are literally shovel ready. Now mind you, the capital budget as a whole is about 30% lighter than it was 2 years ago. But the 37th district, I have helped Senator Fraser understand that we are an economy that needs to be stimulated, and so we're putting a little extra on it. Let me tell you a couple. One is the Southeast Family Dental Clinic, which has been, it had a little problem with its lease with the Seattle Housing Authority. They had to cancel the lease. And so what the Southeast Family Dental Clinic is going to do is move in together with the Rainier Beach Medical Clinic, and it'll be one-stop shopping, medical and dental. They'll be in the 9400 block of Rainier Avenue, just south of the Safeway, you know, that curve in the road, just south of Hook, Line, and Sinker. And we've got them $1 million to do that. They're going to start construction in October this year. It's shovel ready, it's jobs while it's being constructed, and it's good union jobs, I might say, because this is a state prevailed wage job. And it starts soon enough, so it's going to help. Casa Latina, we got $325,000 for them, and the reason, they got a new spot at 17th and Jackson, you may have noticed. Their old spot was under the viaduct, and they got displaced out of that by the city. They are very welcome in the 37th Legislative District, and I know they've had some folks who are not so welcoming, but they deserve to be here. What they're going to do is build a building at the corner of Jackson and 17th to replace that old pharmacy that used to be, I believe it was a Japanese-American-owned pharmacy, and I believe it was that old that the pharmacist was displaced in Order 1066. It's that old. But anyway, they're going to redo that building, and they've already got construction going on a smaller outbuilding that should be ready. The Eritrean Association, down on the corner of Massachusetts and Valentine, you know, just south of the I-90 overpass and just west of Rainier Avenue near Oberto's, kind of hidden in the back there. We built the Assembly Hall 4 years ago with capital budget money. It's open, it's functioning, and we're now going to take an old derelict house that's in that neighborhood right next to it, take it down, and rebuild or build an expansion of the Assembly Hall right next to it. And that is $300,000 right there, and it's money well spent. El Centro de la Raza. This is one of those things that goes on and on. This is the end of the saga, we hope. Thank you, Roberto and Stella. They've been wonderful. We have been funding that in bits and pieces because that old school, you know, up there on top of Beacon Hill, it would have taken more money than we had in the capital budget to bring that into shipshape all at once. So this is the last of, I think, 3 or 4 installments. The plumbing, we're going to do some new electrical, and they're going to retrofit it for seismic in case there's an earthquake. And that's $250,000 right there. By the way, all of these are in both the Senate and the House. So Sharon Tomiko and Eric have had a role in that as much as I have, and I appreciate their work. We have a few things that we have in the Senate budget that the House doesn't have. By the way, the House has a few things that we don't have, okay? I'm not bragging. King Street Station, Amtrak, $750,000 to seismically retrofit that. Remember, it's not owned by Amtrak, it's owned by the city. Assume it's owned by the state, Department of Transportation. And so making sure that in the next big one, King Street Station doesn't go down with the viaduct, I think that's worth it. And a small one, but you'll appreciate this, it's for a daycare, $30,000 to decontaminate soils in a daycare. I like it, $30,000. There is one failure, and I want to be honest with you about it because everybody in our delegation, Sharon Tomiko, Eric, and I worked on this one, and that's the Japanese American Cultural Center. They could use $2 million to complement their $17 million fundraising goal, a small percentage of this being state money. They were not on the list that was put together by Department of Communities, Trade, Economic Development for what's called the Buildings for Communities Fund. Trying to get them back onto the list was an endeavor that the three of us worked on regularly. Couldn't do it. So we will try it again next year, and that'll be at the top of our list. Let me poke your recollection. You may recall about 2 years ago, the Seattle Times and PI both had these front page articles about how we had a lot of pork. All the districts that got from the capital budget, and the 37th was #1 on the list. Some people suggested that we should be ashamed of us, that was pork. No. King Street Station, a daycare, a dental clinic, Casa Latina, the Eritrean Association, and El Centro. That's not pork. That's not somebody's use of taxpayer money for a non-taxpayer purpose. That is central to what the 37th District is all about. And using taxpayer funds out of the capital budget for these things is something that Eric and Sharon Tomiko and I do not feel one bit apologetic for. You guys have a good one.